Hi guys, Ingenium here. I got the top 5 reasons on why you want to work on your own car. I thought I'd make this video because I thought it was quite a cool video to make. I'm making this inside because it's freezing outside. So I'm actually inside and I'll cut in some B-roll or me driving or something like that. Anyway, so let's get on with it. So the first reason is it's really satisfying working on your own car. That feeling you get after fixing your own car, or anybody's car for that matter, but especially your own car, it's a real sense of accomplishment. If you've got like something wrong with your car, it's making a noise, or even if you just want to do an oil change and it's your service is due, and you change the oil or you fix a problem. Even to this day, after I've been fixing cars for a long time, I still get a real sense of accomplishment, and it just makes you feel really good inside. And it's like, I did that. It's really satisfying. The second thing as well is that it saves you a lot of money. Like a lot of money. Sometimes it's only a little bit of money, but sometimes it's a lot of money. For example, on your oil changes, you're only maybe saving £30–40, depending on how much you pay for an oil change. If you go to your dealership for an oil change, it's obviously a lot more. If you're just getting it done from just a normal garage, it's a little bit less. But it does save you a lot of money, especially if you change your oil on an older car. You're not going to take it to a dealership, and you reduce the service interval from maybe 12,000 miles to 6,000 or 8,000 miles. If you work out on how much money you're saving per service, it can be in the hundreds, if not thousands of pounds after a while, especially if you're doing things like brake discs. These are very easy and quick jobs, although garages will charge you a lot of money to do this. Brake discs, work on your engine, for example, air filters, carbon filters, just real simple jobs like this, cleaning out your EGR. These are like super, super easy jobs, fuel filters. And you will save a lot of money on that. The other thing as well is because you are buying your own parts. Usually when you go to a garage, they obviously charge you your labour, so they'll be £45 an hour, £50 an hour, anywhere up. I mean, BMW is £120, £150 an hour, but that's another story. So usually they charge you labour, but they also make a markup on their prices. So if you go to a garage and you say, can I get brake discs? They'll say, yeah, no problem. A lot of garages will obviously charge you the labour, and then they will actually charge a markup on those on the parts prices as well. The other thing that it saves you money on as well is misdiagnosis. I always bang on about a W203, my Mercedes C-Class. That was misdiagnosed the first time and it cost the owner £500. It was misdiagnosed the second time and it was going to cost him £2,100. I went in there, fixed it. It was a £100 fix. Again, if somebody paid that and it was £2,100, that's a very expensive misdiagnosis. The car's pretty much a write-off at that point, and you're going to want to throw it in the bin, sell it, scrap it, whatever. So it can save you a lot of money. The third thing as well is that you learn a skill. Working on cars is a skill, and you become better at it over time. The practice makes perfect and all that kind of stuff. So it is a skill, and the more you work on your car, for example, an oil change, the first time you do it, you'll be nervous and you won't know how to do it and all that kind of stuff, and it'll take you 2–3 hours to do. Fine, no problem. The second time you'll do it in 2 hours. The third time you'll be able to do it in under an hour, and you become better at it. For example, one of the things that you can become better at is, is this bolt going to snap? What tool should I use? All this sort of stuff. It's a skill, and it's a fantastic skill to have. Working on cars actually made me a better DIYer. After I started working on cars, then I started doing, I'm not great at it, but then I turned my hand to plumbing as well, because plumbing's not that hard. The plumbing I do, just waste and using plastic pipes and stuff, it's not that hard. Putting up shelves, all that kind of stuff, I can do that stuff now, but I wouldn't do that stuff before I attempted to work on cars, because I wasn't really a DIY sort of person. And then when you've got a skill like that, you can help your friends and your family, you become that guy, which it can also be a negative, but, your friend's got... he wants to do his oil change, or he wants to change his spark plugs. Yeah, no problem. You can go over. You've done it before. You know how to do it. You can take a little bit of your time, teach him, or you can do it. You can do it for free. You can do it as a favour. You can do it for a little bit of money, mates rates and all that. So it's a fantastic skill to learn. One of the fourth reasons to learn to work on your car, and I think this is a very important one, is that you can take your time because you're not on the clock. Depending on where you work, if you're a mechanic or if you're a garage, let me know if this is how it would work, or maybe this isn't how you work. But some mechanics are paid by book time. So for example, let's just say a certain job says that it takes 2 hours to do. If you take 1.5 hours, or you take 3 hours, you still only get paid 2 hours worth of work. So you're going to get paid, just for example, if the book time's 2 hours, if you will only get paid 2 hours. So if you do it quickly and you finish in 1.5 hours, you still get paid 2 hours, but you got half an hour spare. If you do it in 3 hours, then you've spent 3 hours doing technically 2 hours worth of time. Therefore, you're losing out on a little bit of money. Obviously, this means that people are trying to get the jobs done as fast as possible to maximize their earnings and reduce their losses. Again, if you're always doing it ahead of book time, you're making more money for less time, if you know what I mean. And if you're behind book time, then you are getting paid less technically. And because of that, you are incentivized to work quickly. Obviously, it's a business, and that's how businesses work. You can't blame them for that. But realistically, would you pay a mechanic twice as much to make sure he does a good job? Probably not. Most people want the work done for cheap as possible. When you go into a mechanic's garage and you get the bill, you want it to be as low as possible. If they said to you, "Oh, we took an extra hour doing this, that, or the other," you're going to be peed off, especially if they're charging £50, £60 an hour or whatever. So realistically, they have to work on the clock. They have to work as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. That's kind of what their job is. So shortcuts are taken. So for example, let's just say you're doing an oil change. A lot of cars have under trays on the bottom. They won't take the under tray off. They'll either bend it back or twist it just to get to the sump plug. And over time, obviously, all your fasteners on the bottom will start to kind of twist. The plastic will the holes will elongate. Soon, your plastic under tray will kind of snap off, or it'll be twisted and bent. Just other things as well, like for example, let's say you get an oil change again. They might not drain the oil as thoroughly as you would if you did it yourself, or they might actually use one of them suction pumps and suck it out of the engine. I don't really like that, but some people say it's fine. But let's just say you're doing an oil change. What I'll usually do is I'll add a little bit of fresh oil once everything's out, and if you notice, once you add a little bit of fresh oil, it'll actually push out more dirty oil. Again, not a massive thing. It's not going to destroy your engine or anything like that, but it's just these small things that when you take the care and the time to do it yourself, you can do that, whereas the mechanic's not going to do it because it's extra product, extra time, and it's not his car, so he just doesn't care as much. Again, I'm not blaming them for it. If they're doing brakes, are they going to grease up all the back of the brakes? Are they going to do the sides? Are they going to use copper grease or Ceratec, something like that? Are they going to take out the slide pins and clean them? Are they going to brush down all the bits where your brake hardware touches? No, a lot of the time, what they'll do is they'll just take the pads off, swing them up, put like a quick dab of grease on them, chuck them back in, and that's fine. But if I'm doing the brakes, I'll take everything off, I'll scrub everything down with a brush, I'll wipe it down, I'll clean it, I'll put Ceratec everywhere, I'll fit the brake pads, I'll take the slide pins out, I'll clean the boot. I'll do things really thoroughly because I've got the time most of the time. If it takes me 4 hours doing brakes, which it doesn't, but if it does, what difference does it make? I'm not getting paid to do it, so it doesn't really make a difference. The other thing as well is a lot of the time they won't add anti-seize or anything like that. So if you take off your brakes now on your car, most likely, if you do the discs, you'll have to hammer them off and they'll be seized to the hub of your car. If they took another minute or two, they could added copper grease or anti-seize onto the back of the hub, onto the front of the hub, and that would stop the corrosion and it rusting to the hubs. But again, that takes a little bit longer, so they won't do that. Whereas if you're doing these things yourself, when you go back the next time to change your brakes, you'll find it a lot easier. Your slide pins will be lubricated, so it'll take you a second just to clean them and re-grease them. When you go to take off your disc, your discs will come off easily because they're not seized onto the hub. Small things like that do make a difference when you're working on your car. And the fifth reason to work on your car is modifying. I mean, some mechanics and garages can be very funny about modifications, and I do understand that. If you're in a garage, mods are a bit of a tricky thing. What if they don't fit properly? What if they make your car like this? You don't want to fit something and ultimately have your customer come back and complain. That's just not good business for yourself. But if you modify your own car, you can see what fits and what doesn't. I've always found, and in America, they have like tuning shops. We have similar things here, but they usually charge a lot. And I've never really had a car special enough for me to take it to a kind of performance garage or performance mechanic. I've had a few, and their work was good, but they were very expensive as well. And usually I don't modify my car that kind of extensively. Usually it's just small things. But yeah, if you're doing small modifications, let's just say you're putting lowering springs on, fitting anti-roll bars, exhaust. I don't usually fit exhaust, but anyway, fitting a induction kit or an intake or something like that. You can fit this stuff yourself. If you ask your normal run-of-the-mill garage to do it, they'll moan, they'll grumble. If it doesn't fit properly, they won't even make the effort to try and make it fit. They'll say it's a piece of crap, it doesn't fit. Whereas if you fit these things yourself, you can see what fits, what doesn't fit. You can say, oh, well, I need another elbow here for my intake system, or it's banging on this, or maybe this needs to be removed. Whereas they won't really take the time or effort to do that unless they're specialised in the car. But again, then you're talking more money for that. When you fit your own parts as well, you can tune it the way you like. So, for example, if you're fitting anti-roll bars, some of them are adjustable. Do you want it on the softest setting? Do you want it on the hardest setting? Do you want it on the medium setting? You can choose that. If you're fitting coilovers, how do you want to set up? Obviously, you should get it corner weighted, or you should get it aligned and all that stuff. But do you want the suspension on softer? How low or high do you want it? You get to choose and tune how you want your car when you modify it yourself in that respect. So that's another good reason to work on your car. Anyway, that's 5 reasons to work on your car. I hope you enjoy this video. Give me a like, give me a subscribe as well, please, if you don't mind, because that really helped my channel grow. I hope you enjoy these videos. Cheers.